Rivalry, one of the best words in all of sports. When two teams have continuously competed against each other for years and years to come to try and show who is the best when all is said and done. And yet again, a rivalry has been renewed. The Knicks and the Pacers. The New York Knicks coming back to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years. They need to show that they are about business. So today, we get into what the Knicks can do to come out on top of this rivalry in the Eastern Conference Finals and try and get back to the finals for the first time in 25 years. And that all starts with their superstar caliber player, Jalen Brunson. And if you are Jalen Brunson, the first thing I would highly recommend is going downhill. Just look at this action here, right? You got basically a 5-out offense. Now you have someone like Drew on you. Now, in the case of a team like the Pacers, that might be Nembhard, that might be Aaron Nesmith. But regardless, the point stands. Brunson's at his best when he can initiate and start things downhill. And I think that's how you're going to be able to win this series. Mitchell Robinson comes here with the screen. Great job getting someone like Pritchard off, right? He tried to fight over the screen, but at this point, he's given up the entire lane with only Derek White there. And Brunson knows that White's a good shot contester, so he's going to go ahead and get that sort of shot up. Now, again, I do think these looks are very, not easy, but they're very capable of being replicated if you are the Knicks going up against this Pacers team. We saw with someone like Donovan Mitchell, who obviously he is bigger than Brunson. Pause. I think at the end of the day, the point stands, that's where that defense can get weak. If you can go downhill because someone like Miles Turner has to respect Cat, right? Now you start driving, going downhill. I think that's where Brunson is just unstoppable. Because if you do stop him, there's a chance he's going to draw the foul on you. If he gets the big on him, he can just go down to the rim with absolute ease like we just saw here, right? This team, I think, can create action to make Jalen Brunson's life a million times easier. And I think against the Pacers defense that has still struggled throughout these playoffs, right? It's very possible to be replicated if you're the Knicks. And then the other major player that we got to look at is Karl Anthony Towns, who has been remarkable for this team when they've needed him the most. And the thing that Cat needs to do most, just like Brunson, is drive. His aggression against smaller players in these playoffs has been remarkable. Time in and time out, the Pistons, the Celtics, even against other bigs, Cat made it known that he is the bigger player. And he has consistently taken advantage of his size to get points in this series. And I think against someone like Miles Turner, who we saw. Now, obviously, Giannis is, a tier above Cat as someone inside. But I think that point can still stand. Miles Turner is not that great at defending someone that much bigger than him, right? Cat can do a great job. Look at what he did to Tatum. Gets it down. Horford, goaltend, right? The idea is Cat knows the size differential and he takes advantage every single time, right? Again, just absolutely horses Peyton Pritchard and can go right back up with it. This team's rebounding in the Pacers isn't that fantastic, right? So you can't just throw like a little guard at him. You're going to need Miles Turner. So if you do go downhill, okay, now, Turner has to respect that, which means that perimeter shots are most likely going to open up. And then if the Pacers try and adjust and try and run a smaller lineup or put Thomas Bryant out there for a more traditional big to get on Cat, then Cat could do stuff like this. He'll do a little, he gives up on this screen action here, gets it out. Now look at the spacing. Now Cat can just catch and pull. And again, now you've stretched out the Pacers defense so someone like Jalen Brunson or, Josh Hart or Mikal Bridges can drive it downhill. And then at that point, I think that's where they try and win this series. It's going to be, they need to dominate points in the paint if they want to win this series. And I think Karl Anthony Towns, in that his versatility of scoring, can provide something so different that not a lot of teams are going to be able to stop. And I think that's also going to help them out against this defense that I think, again, has struggled at times. Now, in the clutch, it stepped up. But I think at the end of the day, this paint is free if you're the Knicks and you play it the right way. And I think at that point, you don't have to worry so much about your, struggling three-point shot. Things can fall. And at that point, you can make some moves. And then finally, we need to talk about what the Knicks can do defensively against an offense that has quite frankly seemed to have found rhythm and is just unstoppable when they do. And the big point I just want to talk about real quick for their defense, do not allow this to happen. Halliburton switched onto a big has worked all playoffs. They have found a way to switch a big onto him, force a big to drop, whatever it is. This dude Tyrese always finds a way to, once he can get that big on him, he's either completely driving past them, taking advantage of them with his handle, or he's then letting the big go into drop coverage, and then he's able to just pull up for three. If you're the Knicks, that is not going to be able to happen. You cannot let just look here. He gets Portis on him, breaks him down, continues to drive past him. He's just not, quick-footed enough. Don't let Cat or Mitchell Robinson get caught in those actions, or you're going to get cooked, and then things are going to get very, very ugly. And then we can talk about OG Anunoby. OG is going to either have to guard Tyrese or make sure that he can always cut off that next available pass or action. Again, OG does a great job of going down right and stopping plays like this from happening because he's good at disrupting passing lanes, dribbles, and he then can make things extremely uncomfortable for you if you're the Pacers. So again, be physical, force Tyrese to really feel, some form of physicality on the drive, and I think you can disrupt his flow. And that's going to be huge. If you're the Knicks, you need, OG, disrupt guys like Nembhard, disrupt guys like this who try and drive, right? Because you got someone like Cat, and the paint isn't always going to be very well defended either. You need to make sure that you can eliminate all the possibilities. So I think if you're the Knicks, OG, you're either immediately on Tyrese and making his life a living hell in terms of trying to drive the basketball, or I need you on that second option and make sure that they can't get going and force Tyrese to become the primary scorer and see if that will win them a game. Ultimately, I think this would be the game plan if you're the Knicks. You need to make sure that Cat is either dominant in the paint, right, getting those boards, horsing, the guys like Miles Turner, or he's a primary three-point shooter and forcing the floor to get stretched out so that Brunson can then get downhill, and then things can get out of hand quickly. And defensively, do not let Halliburton get switched onto your bigs every action, or you guys are going to be cooked. So, ultimately, with this strategy in mind, I do think the New York Knicks can win this series. I think this series is going 6 to 7 games regardless. I probably will favor Indiana just because I think with the way that the Knicks are, with the way that they run their starters, I do think that, consistent go of the Pacers is going to wear out the Knicks. And I think that can cost them this series in the long term. But if they manage to do this strategy well, and you came back and you said, Emster, we won in 7, see, I told you, I wouldn't be surprised. I think this series is 60-40 to 50-50. I think this series is going to be incredible. So let me know what you guys think down below. The support y'all have shown has been incredible. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, subscribe. As always, this was Emster Knows Hoops. Have a beautiful rest of your day, guys. Peace out.